The Gamers, Kyla's Rescue, written and narrated by C. Taylor, edited to meet YouTube guidelines. To purchase the unedited book, please click the link in the description. Chapter 3. The security station was quiet. Beyond the reception desk sat officers watching their monitors. Every inch of populated land on Suenia was being watched through one of those screens. The receptionist looked up and smiled as she approached. "What is your complaint?" she asked, fingers poised on her keyboard to enter the information. Sky smiled back, dreading what she was about to do to one of her childhood friends. "No complaint. I need to speak with Officer Rylan Artak." The receptionist covered her laugh with a fake cough. "Are you sure? There are other officers that I'm sure could assist you." "Yeah, he was going to punish her for this. No, just Officer Artak, please." The receptionist involuntarily rolled her eyes before reaching for the microphone to call the officer. "Name?" Sky's stomach clenched. "Sky Reno Dule." The receptionist's eyebrows raised and she stared at her. She leaned forward to whisper, "I can't emphasize enough that another officer, any other officer, would be able to assist you more efficiently." Sky took a calming breath and corrected her previous concern. He was going to kill her for this. Sky leaned forward and whispered back, "Officer Artak, please." The receptionist took a deep breath in resignation and issued the order through the station. Several of the heads watching the monitors started whispering to each other and chuckling softly. Ryland came from the back of the room, stepping out of an office, rubbing sleep out of his eyes. Sudden realization hit what she had just done in the training center. Any hope of an internship was gone, and the rest of her life as a low value service worker. What had she done? "Stay focused," she told herself. "Find Kyla, and you can figure the rest out later." And right now, she needed to follow the only lead she had. Ryland's hands finally lowered from his eyes, and he looked towards the reception area, complete confusion creasing his face. Then his eyes locked with Sky's. His body jerked in shock, his step faltered for a moment. The next moment, his face went red, and Sky recognized he was furious. She understood why, but it couldn't be helped. She didn't need to stay long, but she needed information he could give her. The moment he got close enough, his words were polite, but his tone was aggressive. "Miss Renaud Dooley, come with me, please." He took her arm and rushed her back to his office. He didn't let go of her until they were both back in his office, door closed and locked. The moment it was, he turned on her. "What are you doing here?" he whispered with venom. "I need to see the door access logs for Kyla's locker from 2 nights ago," she whispered back. Rylan growled, both hands raised to his head and clenching fist in his hair. "Are you crazy, risking your internship for a newling?" He started to berate her. "I'm not risking anything. I'm just curious." She had worked out her story in the shuttle. There was no use in explaining. No one had ever or would ever understand her friendship with a transplant. 12 years earlier, Kyla had gotten the highest score on that year's game, earning the right to come to Suenia, a great honor in all of the known universes, but not on Suenia itself. On this planet, she was lowest of the low and would continue until her descendants 2 generations into the future. Why would a double founder even bother? She didn't totally understand it herself, so there was no way she would ever be able to explain it to anyone else. Rylan looked at the clock. "Really? Because the time says you should still be training." Sky rolled her eyes, not wanting to admit it. "I broke another control panel." Ryland sank into his chair. "Oh, crap, not again." "Yep, and I don't really want to talk about it, so may I see the access logs, please?" Ryland's eyes softened, and his head slowly nodded. "Yeah, let me pull it up. Give me just a minute." He moved to his monitor and started typing. Sky looked around Ryland's spacious office. They had been close friends up to about a year ago. He was in the same situation as Sky through most of their training years. He was also a descendant of one of the original 100 founding families, but from one of his parents, and had been awarded an extra year only. He had gone into the security services, but as a founder who couldn't get an internship, he was considered next to useless, tucked away in a big office and encouraged to contemplate security rather than enforce anything. His new unofficial title of foundling was used by his coworkers when they didn't think he could hear. As such, his office was large, desk small, and couch massive. Sky could see the lengthwise body imprint along its cushions. What night, he asked, finally accessing the needed logs. 2 nights ago, about 2:30 a.m., she directed the time of the missed call request she found on her portable communicator the next day. Rylan nodded his head and continued to tap. He stopped tapping and scanned his screen. Nothing. No one in or out, he stated flatly. Sky froze. There has to be something. She's not there now. When did she leave last? Rylan tapped some more. She came in about 7 p.m. the night before. That's the last activity from her through today. Skyland's hands clenched in frustration. Everything she tried kept going nowhere. How could this also be a dead end? She rubbed her face to relieve some of her intense frustration. How does that happen? How does she leave her locker without it appearing in the logs? Ryland shook his head and shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. Even if she was chosen for a special project, the collection committee would show. Who has the authority to access a newling's locker and delete it from the logs? No one. That's not even a thing, Sky. Well, then, how, Ryland? You know security better than I do. How does this happen? Not if it could, because she's not in her locker. I've checked. Yeah, I know. I saw, he whispered angrily, using both hands to point towards his monitor, listing her entries over the last 2 days. Okay, so what's the answer? Sky pressed. Ryland leaned back into his chair, hand rubbing the back of his neck as he shook his head. Sky quieted and waited, recognizing Ryland was about to tell her something he shouldn't. The only person I know that can go wherever he wants without any of it being logged is the Baron, but why would he? Sky paled. She had hoped Kyla was just a part of a really unpleasant special project, but the Baron was just a figurehead, assigned by the potentate as a spokesperson for the planet, and had no actual experience or control over the programs. What was this? She had to think, where could she go from here? Thank you, Ryland, she said hollowly as she got up and headed for the door. I'm sure she's fine. Just get a good night's sleep and tackle your internship tomorrow. I quit. Sky admitted unintentionally, her mind distracted, trying to figure out what to do next. You what? Ryland forgot to whisper and slammed the door back closed that Sky was pulling open. Sky let out a long breath and closed her eyes. Why had she said that? If Ryland wasn't going to kill her before, she was about to get both laser ports now. Ryland, I told you I don't want to talk about it. I didn't mean to tell you that. Ryland grabbed her shoulders, forced her to look at him. Sky, you can't do this. You can't waste whatever time you have left. I would have done anything for the second year you got. I know, Ryland, Sky tried to rebut. No, you don't. You have no idea what it's like being a founder in service. They practically think I can't even dress myself in the morning. Do you know how long it's been since the last time I was sent on assignment? Any assignment? Neither do I, because they never have. Sky winced and decided to try the excuse she came up with on a shuttle before she gave it to her parents. At least I can save my last unfortunate tutor from a destroyed career. Did that sound believable? Who the hell cares about some old retired tester who wants a few more years reliving his glory days? That's the stupidest reason I've ever heard, he spat. Sky lost her temper and started to yell. Well, then, I guess it's what I deserve. Damn it, she swore she wouldn't cry again, not about this. She had been called worse, but stupid just kept hitting her like no other word could. She stood her ground, stared back at him, but felt her chin quiver, her eyes flood with tears. Sky watched Ryland realize he'd hurt her, and his face softened. Damn it, Sky, I'm sorry. I know you hate being called that. I just don't want you to give up. You still have 2 months. Sky wiped the tears that fell on her cheek. Even if I was a descendant of all 100 founding families and had that many years, it wouldn't make any difference. Ryland looked down, put his hand in front of his mouth, shoulders shaking sporadically. Are you laughing at me? Her eyes narrowed at him. Sorry, just the thought of you in the training center, gray hair hunched over with a walking assist, jumped into my head. This made Sky chuckle softly and look down. I just hope this makes this a little less humiliating for my family. I'm not a failure. I'm just a. You're just crazy, Ryland offered. Sky's eyes shot to him. He was smiling, teasing her. Sky's face softened into a smile. I think I can live with that. Ryland pulled her in for a hug. At least I'll have my pity party partner back. PPP all the way. Sky chanted their old war cry as she pulled back to look up at his face. PPP all the way, he echoed back. He watched her a moment before releasing her and backing away. Since you're making the worst decision ever, I don't feel guilty inviting myself to your penthouse apartment as soon as you are settled in. Sky chuckled again. I'll call you, she said as she reached for the door again. Thank you, Ryland, for helping me, not just with the logs. He just nodded as she went through the door. It was dark by the time she scanned her pass and boarded the elite shuttle that would take her to her parents' house. As if this day hadn't been bad enough, it was about to get a lot worse. By now, her tutor would have informed her parents about her choice. She thought about just starting service without going home, never face her family, but Kyla had given her something to keep safe and she had to retrieve it. The mountain range that stood as a barrier to the exclusive founder neighborhoods loomed as the shuttle ascended over them. A valley dropped down on the other side, opening to a vast landscape dotted with large mesas that stretched impossibly high off the valley floor. Each mesa had a scattering of massive houses exclusively used by the descendants of the founding families. Since both her parents could trace their lineage back to several founders, her parents' house was one of the largest atop the mesa at the center of the valley. This was the last time she would ever see it. She let herself remember how much she loved this place as a child. Training was fun back then, when it was understandable a child wouldn't be great at simulations. Her dizziness and stumbling was cute. Her father had been so proud of her those first years, letting her know she would get it soon, and there were weekends with her siblings all together and playing. Then the years went by, and she never got it. The dizziness never passed, stumbling got worse, nothing seemed to help. Her father's face went from smiling to concerned to stern. Her siblings wouldn't talk to her at the training center, then avoided her at home. No one in the family seemed to know what to do with her and never wanted to be seen with her. Gradually, she didn't want to be seen either, but she still tried, did everything she could. None of it was enough. She was never going to be enough, and now this was the last time she was going to see the place she hoped she would never have to leave. The shuttle headed for the center mesa, descending as it neared. Sky didn't give herself a chance to think about what was coming. She stood up before the shuttle docked and stepped out as soon as the doors opened. She didn't slow when she heard the loud but muffled voices as she neared the front door. Her handprint worked. It hadn't been deactivated yet. She wasn't sure if it was a small kindness or they wanted to make sure they told her exactly what they thought of her before they would never be able to see her again. She pushed the heavy door open. The first voice she recognized was her mother Elena's. You need to tell her, Merrick. Tell her she can't quit and has to go back. Brino doesn't have a say and will have to continue her tutoring. Even if we have to tie her up and carry her there, she is going back. Random sibling voices in the background. So glad she's never met my kids. Do you remember how embarrassing she was when we were training? I didn't think she could get any worse, but wow. Sky flinched. Maybe she should have picked service and never returned. Her father's voice was just as loud and aggressive. I will talk to her. I know she's scared, but she can't. She will. Merrick struggled. He didn't know how to fix this. Sky had heard the doubt and fear in his voice when he talked about her for years, and it killed her a little more each time she heard it. She hated that she caused him so much pain. Tears filled her eyes again as she listened from the other side of a wall, blocking her from the rest of the family. She took a deep breath, wiped the tears away, and stepped into the room. It went silent. Her two brothers, David and Ifan, and sister Corey were facing her and angrily stared at her. Her father was turned to the side and looked up. Her mother had her back to her, spun around, and charged so suddenly Sky flinched. You are going back. Do you hear me? You are going back. You still have 2 months. It won't make a difference, Sky interrupted. You don't know that! Helena stopped and screamed. Sky didn't flinch this time. The truth drained all the fight out of her. Yes, I do. We all do. Then you figure out a way. You go back and you figure out a way. I already have, Sky argued. I can't save myself, but I can at least try to protect you all from being completely humiliated by my failure. If I quit, I don't fail. I just chose not to finish. Sky, you can't! Then her mother froze. Wait, would that work? She turned back to Sky's father. Merrick looked stunned. Sky saw so much emotion as he struggled to come up with another plan. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone trying anything like this. Yelena gasped. So we'd be the first? Corey stepped forward. So what if she's the first? She can't just quit. Oh, hush, Yelena silenced her. Your brilliant sister came up with an idea no one else has ever thought of. Behind them, the drink Devin had been enjoying exploded from his mouth, and he started choking the moment her mother used the word brilliant to describe Sky. It shocked Sky too, but with everyone distracted by Devin's coughing and wheezing, this was her chance. She rushed down the hall and into her room. She quickly opened the bottom drawer and reached all the way to the back right corner. Her hand disappeared as it burrowed under her clothes. She felt it. Her fingers closed around it, and she pulled. The necklace, with an unusual pendant, lifted from its years-long hiding place. Sky quickly put it around her neck and tucked it under her shirt. The safest place she could think of until she found another hiding place in her new home. As she stood, she found her father standing in her door, leaning against the door jamb. This is Kyla's. She gave it to me to keep safe. It's the only thing I'm taking. I'll send back my clothes once I have some to replace these. She pulled at her flowing pants that shimmered in the light. Her father gazed at her. His eyes started to glisten, and she knew she had broken his heart. She hated this. Her eyes started to flood, and she had to look away. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. Her father pushed away from the door and walked into her room. He grabbed her favorite bag she kept by her bed and handed it to her. Take this and whatever else you want, he offered quietly. Sky tried to bravely smile, but it was shaky. You know I can't. Yeah, he admitted, rubbing the back of his neck. But you can take the bag. Sky took the bag, remembering the day he bought it for her. It wasn't from one of the restricted shops only founders could enter. They'd been passing through some street vendors, and she absolutely loved it. It had been a fun day until they got home. Her mother never let her go outside with it, worried about what the neighbor would say, but she never got rid of it. This actually made her smile genuinely. I actually can carry it outside now, at least after I pass the mountain barrier. What do you say you wear it in the living room? Show the family? She picked up the large canvas bag, looped it over her head and across her body, laying the bag part in front of her. Subtle? Her dad finally smiled, a genuine one. Very. She moved to the door. Merrick held out his arms. Sky involuntarily closed in and hugged her father. I did everything I could, Dad. She wanted him to know. I know, his voice shook. I did too. I know. She assured him and held a little longer for the last time. She finally pulled back, wishing she could find something to say to make this moment less painful. Nothing came to mind. She hated this. Merrick's head gave a quick nod, and they left the room. What did she try to take? Corey accused as they made it back to the family room. Merrick smiled as Sky turned and displayed her simple canvas bag. Just that ugly thing? Her sister shrieked. Corey, leave your sister alone. She can take anything she wants. We'll petition the Founders Council, Yelena scolded. Corey looked at their mother with utter disbelief on her face. What is happening? The room erupted again, and her father leaned into her ear. Let us know you're okay when you can, he requested, and gave her hand a squeeze. Will you finish my goodbyes? Her father watched the chaos, then looked back at her and nodded. One last hug, back through the huge front door, and back to the shuttle to see what would happen with the rest of her life.